Welcome to Coach on the Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, visiting today with Neillsville Warrior girls basketball coach John Gaier. Coach, let's first remind the audience how many years you've been coaching and what in the world keeps you coming back every year.
Well, I actually started my coaching career back in 1981 out in North Dakota. So I've been coaching for a long time. I don't know how many years that is. Varsity head coach, I've been a coach now. This will be my 25th year. Overall, I did boys for 5 years here. Got out of that because I got into administration, and then for about 3 days before a season started, when my daughter was going into her senior year, we didn't have a girls coach, so I took that for 1 year, and here we are 20 years later.
The last 2 years, conference champions, so back-to-back conference champs. The spot you had held a number of years prior to that, with the exception of maybe Loyal or Colby getting in the way a time or two. Just think back on last year. Every season's filled with good moments. You and the girls form lifelong relationships. What's one or two of those memories, maybe off the court or not necessarily in a game score situation, that you have from last year's team?
Well, I think the most exciting thing from last year is we got to play because there was a lot of doubt of whether we were even going to have a season. So being able to be on the floor with those kids and be pretty uninterrupted and getting that season in during a difficult time, I think was probably the highlight. And there is nothing better than spending time with those kids and being able to get out on the floor with them. Is really exciting. We had a great group of 6 seniors that graduated last year. I just had an opportunity to go watch Bella Opelt play. She's playing for Ripon, and she was playing in a tournament up in Eau Claire. And so it's always fun to see that. But what's really fun is to see what these kids accomplish after they leave here. I hope that they get some confidence in themselves and that they can go out and achieve things that maybe they didn't think they could achieve, and the things that they do and the people that they become is really the most important thing. And it's just exciting for me to watch. I always tell people I'm glad I have a job, because if I had to interview against these kids, I'd never get hired anymore.
Yeah, it'd be a tough task for sure. Let's talk about those 6 seniors a little bit. Then we'll start to preview this year's team. You mentioned that the floor general, and I don't know if you've had a more smooth, complete floor general in your years as you did in Bella Opelt. So let's start with her, and then just recap the rest of that senior class a little bit as far as their performance on the court. Well,
I think all 6 of them were really coachable kids. They had some pretty good skills. I mean, the benefit that we had with that group is, that we had multiple kids that could score at different times. They were hardworking, came to work every day and played hard. Terrence Stockheimer and all of those kids that were on our team last year were just great kids that worked hard, and they're going to be tough to fill. Bella, the 4-year starter. And not just the scoring, she was only my second 1,000-point scorer in the history of my program. But she did so much more. She handled the press. She was the point of our defense, which is important for us. And then those other kids that played behind her were exceptional at their job. So, finding the kids that are going to step up and replace those kids are always the challenge going into a new year.
Yeah, for me, Bella's so calm, in control the whole time. And if there were, other youngsters, boys, girls, whatever it is, watching this, now is your reminder to go back and watch any of that film from Bella and make yourself a better player and pattern some of your game after her. That would be my advice. All right, coming into this year, you've got a couple returners. They actually led your team in rebounds last year, Paris Opelt and Emma Mosley. So let's start the conversation this year with those two, and I would say 2 of your top returners this year.
Yeah, both of those kids got all conference recognition last year. The question that I had going into last year is, how are we going to be able to defend in the post? Because we weren't real physical. We had some length in Emma and Paris, but weren't real physical. Paris was a freshman last year. So there were a lot of questions about whether we could defend in the post, get some points in the post, and then and rebound the basketball. So those 2 really stepped up. and played well for us to get us 20 wins and get us into the sectional semifinals. So I was really pleased with those folks. This year, I think what's really going to be important for us is we have a couple sophomores that are big kids and that are physical. And if we can get those kids to develop and be able to play Emma and Paris on wings a little bit more, because they are very athletic, long kids. I think that's really going to benefit our team. And I think that's going to be the key to us having a real successful season.
Offensively, Emma's been able to pour it in at times over the last couple of years. Not what I would consider a vocal leader, but do you need somebody like Emma to be a vocal leader, or how will you fill that space on the floor?
Yeah, I think we do. And she's been doing a really good job of that. She has really taken on the responsibility of being a leader. We have 6 really nice seniors this year that are playing hard, coming to work every day. But, in girls basketball especially, I've always found that where your points are going to come from is probably the biggest challenge that you have going into a season. So how we can develop kids and get an offense that fits them, that gives them a chance to score points, is going to be really key. And we've been able to make some headway, I think, on that this season. I think the kids did spend a lot of time shooting in the summer, so I hope that's a benefit. But we want to continue to be as balanced as we can. Find some players that can handle the pressure that Bella usually handled in the past, and try to develop every day as much as we can to get better and hopefully compete with anybody we play with.
I mentioned coming off of back-to-back conference championships and a number of those during your tenure at Neillsville. Recently talked to Columbus Catholic coach Ron Wilczek, who said someday he wants to be like you. So how do you go about, and your girls, go about goal setting, knowing that you've got that bullseye on your back again this year?
Well, I would tell Ron, be careful what you wish for, because you get old pretty quick. So I hope he's thinking more about the program than he is about me. But, you got to put in the work. And I think you have to set some expectations, because I think if you have expectations and standards, kids will try to work to reach those if they can get motivated to do that. I am just humbled by the support we get from our community, the parents that will bring their kids in, before they have driver's license of their own, and get them to the gyms. And it takes work. There's a great quote out there that, there is no real secret to success. It takes what it takes, and you've got to do the things that it takes to be successful. And we try to teach that responsibility to our kids, and hopefully that they work to get there. I think the most concerning thing that I have anymore is that we just don't get enough kids willing to do that over time, and I think they really miss out on an opportunity, not only in sports but in life, to develop some character traits that I think will help them in the future. So that's my biggest concern, is how we can continue to get kids to be involved.
We take a look at the start of the season schedule. You open at home against Loyal. You go over to Owen Withee, so you get a couple of conference games right off the bat. And then you go over to a little bit bigger school with Stratford. How important is it in any given season, but now we're talking about this one, to start off on a good foot, and for you having 2 conference games right off the bat?
I'm sorry, you froze there for a second, Jason.
All right, yeah, let's start it over again. So, early season success oftentimes leads to later season success. You get those wins and losses, and those hang with you for the entire season. You start out with Loyal. You have Owen Withee, so you've got 2 conference competitors right away, and then you've got Stratford. So, how important is it to start off right, especially with back-to-back conference games to begin the season?
Well, I think the important part of that is you want to build confidence. You want to make sure that the kids are playing well early. I think the key to that, or the most important thing about that, is then they start to understand that what you're doing in practice matters and works. And there's a tendency then to buy in even more in what you're doing. I think if you go out and you struggle right away, it's hard for the kids to buy into the system, and that what you're doing are the things that you're doing are the right things to do. So I think that early season success is important, especially when you're playing conference games. I mean, you've got a limited number of conference games, and if you're going to play for a title, you've got to be ready, especially when your first games are conference games, and you've got to find out who you are. So I think being ready on those first days are going to be really important. I think the one thing that we have found is we've really tried to simplify going into the early parts of the year so that kids can just focus on really playing hard, and playing with confidence. And then we'll add some things as the season goes on. But I think that's been real beneficial for us, not to try to do too much, but make sure what we are doing, we're really good at.
Let's talk about the postseason just a little bit, and in the way that it's a new format this year. We looked at last year. It was a road loss to end the season. Melrose Mindoro, tough group there always. They are not in your section this year. You were regional champs last year. Regional championship again this year would mean you would host your sectional semifinal as it stands right now. Computer seating though. So there's not you and your friends huddled in a room trying to figure out who's going to get seated where. The computer's going to take care of that. So how does that change anything? And then, just your thoughts on that change from meeting in person to the computer spitting out your seeds all at once.
Well, we always talk about we will try to control what we can control. I don't know what is going into that computer system when they do the seating. I just tell our kids, if we play to the standard that we set to play, then the scoreboard and all of those other things will take care of themselves. So whatever the computer spits out, there's no appeal system to it. So you've got to play. And when you go into the tournament, you're going to have to beat the best teams to keep playing anyway. So wherever you're seated, that's where you're going to play. So you've got to deal with that. Last year was interesting because I thought we would have had a really nice chance, but then we got bumped up to Division III, and then the higher seeds got to host in the sectionals. So we had quite a trip to St. Croix Falls to play a nice St. Croix Falls team, and we played them hard and just didn't come out on top of that one. But yeah, it was a different year. So we're happy to be back in Division IV. To see, or I think we're going to be happy to be back in Division IV, but I look at our sectional with the Fall Creeks and Ossios and Phillips on the north side of that sectional. So it's never easy. And I've always told people, if you make it to the state tournament, it took a tremendous amount of talent, execution, but a little bit of luck too. And you got to have a combination of all those things to get through that tournament and win several games in a row against teams that are tougher every night.
Yeah, my apologies, Coach. Melrose Mindoro was 2 years ago, and
2 years ago.
Sorry to bring that up again. We'll end with this. We will broadcast a number of your games, a whole handful that people can watch from anywhere. But number one goal is to get down to the gym and support these girls in person. That's where it matters most. We are a plan B in that way. We talked about at the early part of this interview, so we'll end with this. We'll kind of bookend it with how things have changed. When we started last year, there was a limited amount of attendance in the gym. Now it is come one, come all. So give an advertisement to the folks to come out, fill up the gym, and watch you and your girls play this winter.
Well, you're always invited. And first, Jason, thank you for your coverage. You guys do a great job. And I'll tell you, I can't tell you how much our people appreciate the coverage that you give our high school sports. That's really important. But yeah, if you have the opportunity to come on down to the gym, I'm hoping people are hungry to get back into the gym and watch kids play live. To me, there is no better entertainment in a local community than coming to the gym and watching your high school kids perform. It is, I think it helps honor the hard work that these kids are putting in. And come and cheer, and don't cheer against the other team, cheer for your team, and be good sports about it. But come and support those kids, because they dedicate a lot of time and effort to this. And we certainly appreciate the community turning out and supporting the kids.
Neillsville Warriors girls basketball coach John Gaier. Best of luck this year.
Well, we appreciate that. We'll take any of that we can get.